I'm not even ready to be writing the bad guys close in because I haven't outlined those actual scenes.
Last night I didn't get to sleep until pretty late. I'm definitely feeling it today, even more so than yesterday. Despite all of that, I'm going to get started.
What's going on? I'm John, and in this writing vlog, I am back for week 4 of writing my epic fantasy novel. This is also week 4 of my Novelist Apprenticeship and the last full week of Camp NaNoWrimo. Let's begin.
Last week I was able to finish the rest of the third character's arc, Lucian's, and begin working on the first character, or the reimagining of this first character. I wrote all the way up to the break into 2, and I'm in the middle of the break into 2 currently. So that is where I'm going to be starting off for the day. I'm going to start with the break into 2, and yesterday during my break day, I plotted out a bunch of different scenes. I have at least 4 or 5 fun and games scenes figured out, so I can write those if I need that to hit my 5,500 words. Speaking of, the last time I wrote on Wednesday, I left off at 101,800 words. So that means that I need to get to 107,300 or so words to reach my goal of 5,500 for the day. So let's resist the urge to ramble today and let's get right into this writing. It is 6:54 and I have reached 103,958 words. So I wrote a little bit past the 2,000 mark so far, just to get to the end of the scene. I am feeling like this is going pretty well so far, although I'm feeling kind of tired today. I'm not really sure why. I slept well, but I just feel a little sleepy right now, so I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, and then I'm going to come back and continue with this writing some more.
Okay, so it is 8:45 and I am at 105,931 words. The writing has gone well so far with the scenes that I was just writing. This character is getting to know the B story character a little bit more, and it's pretty fun to write the B-story character. He's this like gregarious sort of guy, as well as this more reserved sort of POV character. Something very interesting has just happened in this story, and I am excited to come back and write it in a little bit. But for now, it's time for me to take a break. I'm going to take a nice long one, eat some breakfast, read more of The Blade itself, which I have started to enjoy more and more, although I do still think it's a little bit darker than I like. I do still think some of the characters are a little bit evil and all that. Anyway though, I want to actually get to my reading and all that stuff, so I'm going to stop rambling about fiction and get to doing that, and I'll be back to write in just a bit. Okay, so I'm back from my break and ready to continue with my writing. I have about 1,400 or so words left to go. I'll probably write a little more just in case and just to get a little bit ahead. I am in the middle of a very interesting scene actually in the Fun and Games. I think it's the 3rd scene of the Fun and Games. So that is where I'm going to be beginning, and then I will see where it takes me. We'll see how far I get into the Fun and Games today. Okay, so it is 12:04, and I have written 107,436 words. So today the writing seemed like it went by really quickly. As you can see, today I got 1,065 words per hour, which is my fastest of all of these days so far. Today's writing flowed very smoothly and seemed relatively easy, and I think part of the reason is just because I was writing some pretty cool scenes, especially this scene I was writing there at the end that I'm still finishing up. This scene is going to be awesome. I love it. Overall, the writing just flowed really smoothly while I was writing this scene because it has a little bit of everything naturally included, whether it's dialogue or character thoughts or descriptions or actions. It's kind of got everything already easily included because it's such a intense, action-packed scene. So I'm very much enjoying writing it, and I look forward to getting back to writing it tomorrow and getting into a nice state of flow early on in the morning. Otherwise, that's all for today. I'm going to call it right here, and I will see you tomorrow for day 2 of week 4.
Okay, so I'm back here for day 2 of week 4 of Camp NaNoWrimo and also of my Novelist Apprenticeship. And today I'm focusing on getting through the fun and games. I have started the fun and games a little bit for this first character's arc for Pramana. Yesterday I worked my way into the second of the fun and games scenes, and I was about 75% of the way through that scene maybe, but I still have a little bit to go because this scene is a little bit longer than some of the other smaller, shorter scenes. So where am I right now in this writing? I am at 107,436 words. And that means that if I'm trying to write 5,500 words today, which of course I am, then I need to get to basically 113,000. So that is my plan. That is what I'm going to do. And without further ado, let's actually get into this writing and let's begin. Okay, it is 7:17 and I have gotten to 109,533 words. So I did get slowed down a little bit during the last writing session because there were various things that I needed to look up, namely random nautical terms. Also curiosity about like if it's possible to swim in the water during a storm in the middle of the ocean. You know, all various writery things that you end up having to look up. The thing is that some of these things, they change the direction of where the story might go. Well, I guess they don't really change the direction too much, but they provide explanation for how the story is ending up in the next scene. So it's kind of important. It's not something that I can just say, like, TK word. So anyway, in that writing session, I finished up the very long scene that I've been working on a lot of the time yesterday, as well as a good amount of time for today so far. And I also started writing another scene in the fun and games after that, and then started on the third of my fun and games scenes for the day. So I am deep within the fun and games right now, and I'm just going to continue writing this one when I get back.
Okay, so it is 8:58 and I have worked my way up to 111,500 words. Okay, so my second writing session is done and I am actually exactly 1,500 words from my goal of 113,000. Kind of gets annoying when you have to say all these big numbers. I miss the normal thousands days. Well, anyway. My writing session is going well. It just moved on to another of the fun and games scenes. I think I'm 4 or 5 fun and games scenes in. So we're making good progress right now. And I'm actually at a very interesting scene that this scene is going to be one of the first kind of hints to the prospective character here that something strange is going on. And one of his first contacts with this strange force, basically. It's interesting to write, and I'm looking forward to the moment that I'm going to get to write when I come back. But for now, I actually have some stuff to do, namely take a break, and part of the break today is going to be my swimming session. I'm going to do 35 or so lengths because I'm trying to do 10% more than last time. Otherwise, just some reading, the blade itself, you know how it is, and just taking a break until I come back to continue writing. So I will see you in just a bit with all of that goodness. So today I ended up doing 36 lengths. I was supposed to do 35, but I figured I wanted to do 2 lengths side stroke, one on either side in the end. So I just ended up rounding it up a little bit. It actually went pretty well today. I did not get cramps until 20 or so lengths in, instead of my usual like 16 or so. So I staved off cramps for a while and I didn't really get that many of them. So overall, hopefully that's improving and I won't have to deal with those so much in the future. Anyway, I'm gonna go home and continue writing. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm finally back from my break. I just read a lot of the blade itself, partially because I was enjoying it and partially because I had a bunch of stuff to do during this break. So I'm finally ready to continue with my writing. It's already 12, so I gotta get started over here. I was in the middle of one of the fun and games scenes and I have about 1,500 words left to go. So let's just get started and let's see how it goes. Okay, it is 1:37 and I have just finished up with 113,028 words. So today, once again, the writing flowed relatively smoothly and I think I wrote pretty quickly. And that is backed up by the fact that I wrote 1,042 words per hour today. So one of my faster days still. It's not in my top 2 or anything like that, but it's still a pretty fast day for me. Overall, I do think the writing was a little bit more difficult than yesterday, and that's mostly because that one scene that I was writing toward the end yesterday was just so smooth and easy, and I was in this amazing state of flow. I didn't really have that all the time today. I also had a little bit of research that I had to stop for today, but overall I mostly kept to actually writing and just being really smooth about it. I am in the groove of not using editor brain or anything like that, so I think that's helping as well. There is also one thing that stands out to me as something difficult about this current arc that I'm working on, this current character. Because it's this journey, there's just so many different things that I could add, so many different scenes that I could have, so many different like experiences that I could include for this character. But I have to be really disciplined to only work on the most important of the experiences, the ones that I've chosen to use because I know that they're going to be valuable for this character. And I have to find a balance between the ones that are going to be valuable for him and the ones that I personally think are interesting and personally think fit the genre decently well. So that is what I'm trying to balance. Anyway, that is where I am with this writing, and I will see you back tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm back for day 3 of week 4, and just because things were going too easily so far this week, my brain saw fit to interfere with my sleep. And so last night I didn't get to sleep until pretty late, and I ended up actually waking up at 4 o'clock instead of early, so I didn't get as much sleep as I normally get, and I don't feel quite so energized as normal and all that stuff. But of course, I'm going to continue anyway, but I do want to take a little bit of a side here to talk about that because, first of all, I need to hold myself accountable with it. Like, I need to do a better job before bed of actually relaxing. Last night, I was pretty much working up until, I mean, it wasn't really work, but I wasn't doing relaxing activity before bed. Like, right before I was about to go to sleep, I wasn't doing a relaxing activity. And because of that, when I lay down to sleep, my brain was still super active, and I just wasn't able to get tired enough to sleep. So I need to do a better job with that because I'm not here trying to make myself feel more tired. That is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to actually write, and I need to take better care of myself so that I can actually feel good and make sure that I'm able to do the best I can with this writing. So that's a little bit of a window into kind of things that just like come up for me that I have difficulty with, and one that definitely comes up for me is I start to feel a little bit like I'm overworked. I don't give myself good enough quality break time where I feel like I don't have anything on the clock. I don't have to get anything done right now. I can just do whatever I want and there's no pressure. And since I don't give myself that time very well, it starts to like creep into the ends of my days. Then I get the urge to wait to go to sleep, which is obviously a terrible idea because then it's going to set back my next day. So I do need to find a better way to relax and rest. And part of that, what I'm planning on doing is getting a piano keyboard again. I used to have one a couple of years back and I used to play and it was really relaxing and fun and all that. And I would love to just take, you know, if I take 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the end of the day and I just relax and I just play and don't worry about time or any stuff that I have to do and just enjoy the time that I have there. I think that would be useful for me in actually getting my mental state back to this unstressed place at the end of the day and kind of resetting things. So that is what I'm planning on doing. I just need to actually finish up the last bit of research and then buy the thing. But that is a long aside, and what I'm actually working on right now is I'm working on getting into my writing. I was in the middle of one of the later fun and games scenes yesterday, so that is what I'm going to start with here. I also finished off around 113,000 words, so that means that I'm aiming to get to 118,500 words today. Okay, so it is 7:11 and I have just reached 115,244 words. So I'm just beyond the 2,000 mark, 200 words or so past it. And I still have, well, quite a bit of writing to go. Almost 3,500 words. I am feeling pretty tired, to be quite honest. The lack of sleep is not ideal. My brain feels kind of fuzzy, but I'm just going to take a little bit of a break and I will come back to continue writing anyway. Okay, it is 8:48 and I have written so far 117,280 words.
Okay, to be quite honest, I am very tired. A second ago, I legitimately forgot to turn off the music and was recording a video here with you with a bunch of copyright music in the background, and I didn't even realize it until like 2 minutes in. That's how tired I am. So overall, you know, the writing is pretty difficult right now just because of how tired I am. But I do feel like I'm doing a good job. I've worked my way all the way to the midpoint, and I am in the middle of writing the midpoint scene right now. But I did have a little bit of a crisis moment here for a second because I realized, what if the midpoint scene that I'm writing right now was actually part of the finale? And I decided that it isn't, and I don't want it to be, because I really want to have a certain scene be the dark moment, and it has to occur necessarily after this point. So I decided that I'm not going to do that. It would be nice because it would fit into the Golden Fleece really easily, but I actually would prefer to continue telling the story in the way that I am. I haven't really talked about this yet, but classic me, when I'm feeling tired, I ramble. But I know that I do want to also include some backstory scenes for this character at the very least. I think I'm going to spend the most time in this character's head in this first novel, and then maybe I'll spend more time in some of the other characters' heads later on. But for this one, I want to spend the most with him because in the second book he's going to be working on some really important stuff, whereas the other characters are still working on smaller scale stuff like international problems between countries and whatnot, rather than the actual like big problem that they aren't even aware of yet. Anyway, I am totally rambling, so I'm going to just tell you that I'm about to take my break. Today I have a long run, and it's actually going to be pretty darn long. I think it might be 8 miles. Yeah. 8 miles today. So I'm going to go do that one, and I will be out for a long time, and hopefully that will help me. It will help me wake up a little bit, and I'll come back and finish my writing nice and smoothly. Okay, so I've finally gotten back from my very long break. It is already after 12, and you'll remember I left around 9. However, the run alone, being 8 miles, took quite a while. So all I did basically was do that, eat some breakfast, and listen to the blade itself. But anyway, let's just continue with my actual writing, shall we? I was in the middle of the midpoint. I was writing that scene, and I look forward to getting back to that. I have about, 1,300 words to write? Yes. So let's just get into this writing and see what we can accomplish. Okay, it is 1:25, and I have just finished up with 118,688 words. That is a lot of 8s. So given today's circumstances, I was actually able to write really quickly. I ended up writing a whopping 1,113 words per hour. And I think a large part of the reason why I was able to write so quickly today was the fact that I was working on scenes that I had been thinking about for quite a while. And especially the midpoint scene really flowed out of me just like rapidly. So I think that was the main thing that pushed everything across. Yeah, the first 2 sessions were rather normal. They took about 4 hours combined, and most of mine are like that recently. But this last session was very quick, and that was when I was actually writing the midpoint. So a whole new record today. That's pretty cool, right? Even though I was all tired and whatnot. But there is one thing that I am kind of having some trouble with, and that is the scenes are not as clearly defined as normal because of the rapidness that I needed to get all of these ready to be written, and actually the fact that I'm not even ready to be writing the bad guys close in because I haven't outlined those actual scenes. I know what's going to happen, but I haven't, written it out as scenes yet. So I need to do that tonight as well. My scenes are just feeling a little fuzzier, like I'm not sure where they start and where they end as clearly as normal because I didn't really outline them as clearly as usual. And I think that's probably why it's taking me longer to write this character's arc than it is some of the other ones, because these scenes are a little longer than before. There's a little bit more stuff at the beginning or end that I might need to cut later on. Anyway, that's where I am right now. I'm really tired, so I'm just going to call it a day, and I will see you tomorrow with some more writing, and hopefully more sleep.
Okay, so Remember how I left off saying, oh, and hopefully good sleep. Yeah, that didn't happen. I don't know why. All of a sudden, I've been having trouble falling asleep at my normal time, which is 8:45. I laid down, ready to go to sleep, and I just didn't feel that tired. So I ended up getting up for a while until I actually was feeling tired. I've been having trouble with that recently, and I'm definitely feeling it today, even more so than yesterday, because I have this like headache going on right now, right behind the eyes. Thanks eyes. right back there. But with that said, and with all of that out of the way, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do what I said I was going to do today. That's for sure. I'm definitely going to finish these 5,500 words regardless, because I don't even care about the stupid headache or whatever else. Not getting enough sleep, feeling tired. Like, am I really gonna let that basic stuff get in my way? No. Even though I'm not feeling good right now, even though I'm definitely not at 100%, more like 60% maybe, I'm going to do this writing anyway. I'm going to do my best here, and that's all I've got to say basically about that. So let's get into the actual writing now. So last night I finally went through and started adding all of these scenes in. I went through and I plotted out everything from the bad guys close in all the way to the final image, because frankly I was just tired of not having it plotted out, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna get this done. I'm tired of feeling like if I don't do this work, I'm not gonna be ready for the next day. I finally just said, you know, this is stupid. I'm not gonna keep putting this pressure on myself. I'm just gonna get it all done so that way I can actually focus on the writing and not have to worry about this. So I'm happy that I was able to get that done and get ahead a little bit, not feel like I'm behind the 8 ball here and I'm always having to worry about whether I plotted out this scene or that scene that I'm going to have to write soon. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get started with my writing. I finished up yesterday at 118,688 words. So that means, let's see if I can do some math with my tired brain here. That means that I've got what, 123 plus 500, so 124,200 or so words. That is what I'm going to aim to write today. So in spite of the negative feelings of being tired, and honestly just a feeling that you get when you're tired of just not wanting to do basically anything difficult because you just feel like life is difficult at the moment. Despite all of that, I'm going to get started. Let's do it. Okay, so it is 6:50 and I have reached 120,852 words. So I am just over the 2,000 word mark, and yeah, I'm still tired. That's for sure. The writing today is not flowing that easily, and I feel like because of the way that I've plotted out these scenes so generally, it is difficult to figure out a focus for them like I normally have. Anyway, I really need a break. I'm just going to take a very quick one, and I'm going to come back and continue, and then I'll get to take a longer break, which I'm looking forward to because hopefully I'll be able to wake up a little bit. My headache may or may not dissipate a little bit, so let's just take a break, and I'll be back to write in a little bit. It is 8:35, and I have gotten to 122,914 words. So I made some good progress here. I have gotten through actually quite a few of these bad guys close-in scenes so far. I feel a little bit better, maybe a little more awake. I still have a headache for sure, but I'm going to be all right. I'm going to finish this writing, and I'm very happy that I'm going to take a nice long break right now, though. I'm going to enjoy my breakfast, my reading, and today I don't have any writing, so just my rest, and I will be back to continue writing in just a little bit. Okay, so I am back from my break and ready to continue writing, starting with the bad guys close in. I had just finished about half of the bad guys close in scenes, and I'm starting on the one just after the halfway point right now. So this is going to be an interesting scene to write. Oh, and also I do feel a little bit more awake and my head feels a little less painful. So that's good. So hopefully that will help this last session be a little bit smoother and less painful for my brain. That would be good. Anyway, I am going to get into the writing and see what I can do here with this bad guys closing scene.
Okay, so it is 12:24 and I have just finished up with 124,343 words. So I'm not gonna lie, today was a very difficult day of writing, mostly because of external factors, not really the writing itself, just the fact of me being tired and having a headache doesn't make the writing easy. But I did still manage to write relatively quickly. So today I ended up writing 1,070 words per hour, which is still one of my faster days actually. That's my second fastest day besides yesterday. So even though I am struggling with being tired and having a headache and all sorts of annoying little issues today, I also had to do a little bit of research today, and that slowed me down, especially during the third session. But despite all of that stuff, despite those problems, I was able to write relatively quickly. I do think that part of the reason why I'm able to write this quickly is not necessarily a good thing. I think it's partially due to the problem that I'm having with the scenes not being clearly defined. Because I end up writing some stuff that might not exactly be necessary, maybe that stuff is a little easier to write. I don't know. But right now, I'm not going to worry too much about these scenes not being as tight as they could be. Because I didn't really have that much time to outline this before writing it, I didn't find the scenes as clearly as I wanted to, so I'm going to have to go back and kind of figure out what the scenes need to be before the next draft. So I will be fixing these problems in the next draft, but for now, I'm going to call it a day because I still have that freaking headache, and I'm tired of looking at this bright light. I will see you tomorrow.
What's going on? It is day 5 of week 4 of writing my epic fantasy novel, of doing this Camp NaNoWrimo thing, and I'm back here again, ready to begin my writing. Yesterday I left off in the middle of one of the bad guys' close-in scenes, and I have 4 scenes left in the bad guys close-in, and then I can get to the all is lost. And yesterday I also ended the day at 24,343 words. So that means that I'm trying to get to, and yes, that means I have to do this math again. I have to get to 29,800 or so words. Probably more around 130,000. Anyway, that's around where I'm trying to get to. Oh, and also I do want to note, I actually got some sleep last night. Finally. And now I am ready, here, awake, headache free, and ready to write. So let's get into it. Okay, so it is 6 o'clock and I have just reached 126,536 words. I wasn't that tired when I first woke up, but I am starting to feel a little bit sleepy now. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to hopefully get woken up by some fresh air. I don't know. And then I'm going to get back into the writing and continue with this. I'm on the second to last of the bad guys close-in scenes, so I'm going to finish up those last 2 bad guys close-in scenes, including this one, when I get back to continue with my writing.
Okay, so it is 7:45 and I have already gotten to 128,602 words. I actually am writing relatively quickly so far today. It is going very smoothly, and I think this is because these are scenes that I wanted to write for a while, especially this all is lost that I'm in the process of writing right now. This is the reason why I didn't want the story to end at the midpoint, at that point that could have served as the climax as well. All because of this scene right here. So I am very much enjoying writing it. It's flying by, and it's not even 8 o'clock yet, and I've already finished my second session. Things are going pretty well, and it's looking like this is going to be a speedy day as long as this third session doesn't drag on for 10 hours. I'm going to take a nice long break today. I have a 6-mile run. I'm going to probably be able to finish the blade itself today as well. So lots of fun things happening. I'm going to get to it, and I'll see you back in a bit. Okay, so I just finished up my long break here. During that time, I, of course, was doing my running and stuff like that. But one of the things that I did was I just finished the blade itself. And I actually really did enjoy this book overall, and I do think it'll be nice to read the next in the series. I felt like it was a little bit weird, at least for me. It felt like the pacing was a little bit like abrupt. That's one thing that I've noticed that I really enjoy about the Stormlight Archive and the books in that series, is that like in the beginning it'll start off kind of slow and you're like, this is chill, whatever. And then by the end it's built up to this point where it's like very compelling and exciting and all that. I felt like the climax was a little bit abrupt in this book, but I still enjoyed it. And also, I did just read my favorite scene in the book today. I'm not gonna like talk about any spoilers or anything like that, but if people have read it, it's the one where the Northmen are trying to convey a message. They're going up there, the people that were formerly in like Logan's kind of group are going up there to give them some sort of warning basically about those, can't remember their names either, the Flatheads. And the ensuing fight that happens after that is actually a really cool scene, and I think it was actually a really interesting expression of emotion from the characters. It reminded me of stuff that I read in the emotional craft of fiction, because you're seeing the emotions of the characters displayed in their actions, but they're not displaying it in like some sort of in touch with their emotions way and talking all about it and all that stuff. No, they're killing a bunch of these guys. And through the way that they're doing that, you're getting to see like the pain that they're experiencing basically. That was my favorite scene of the book. Anyway though, I am going to get back into the writing of my own book right here because I've been rambling about my reading for a while already. So I had just finished the All is Lost scene and I am getting into writing the Dark Night of the Soul scenes. I'm going to start with the first right now and we'll see how far I get into the story. Okay, so it is 1:32 and I have just finished up with 130,041 words. So today was a really fast day of writing, like really fast actually. It is the first day that I've ever managed to finish the writing in less than 5 hours. So today I wrote really quickly with 1,147 words per hour, which is my newest fastest record. I think the reason I was able to write this quickly was a combination of what I talked about yesterday with the scenes being a little bit less fleshed out and maybe a little more explorative, and also the fact that I actually got some good sleep last night, so I was able to come at this writing today with some actual brain power instead of like in a daze. And that ended up leading to me having my fastest day of writing yet, and probably my fastest day of writing ever. So I am very far along in this story right now. I just ended midway through the second of the Dark Night of the Soul scenes, so all I have left after this is the break into 3 and then the finale and the closing image. So there's really not that much left, and I may be able to finish writing the entire rest of the story tomorrow. I think I'm going to go back and add some backstory scenes for this character as well, although I do have to decide what those scenes are going to be. So maybe I'll have to do a little outlining tonight, just in case, to make sure that I have some stuff to write tomorrow if I run out. More on that in a little bit, but for now, I'm going to call it for a day, and I'll be back to hopefully finish the rest of this character's arc tomorrow. What's going on? Today is day 6 of week 4, and this is actually the last day that I'm going to be writing for the week, of course, because tomorrow is my break day. Hopefully I'll get an actual break a little bit. And today is quite possibly the last day that I'm going to be working on the main story for all of these characters. I'm getting very close to finishing up Pramana's arc, and I may or may not finish it today because, as I've experienced in the past, these finale scenes just fly by. So that is what I'm going to be working on here, and we'll see if I'm able to actually finish it today or not. If I am able to finish it and I still have some words left to write, then what I'm going to do is start working on backstory scenes a little bit. But for now, let's talk about my goal here for the day. Yesterday I finished off the day at 130,041 words. So today I'm aiming to get to 135,600 or so words. I don't really have too much else to say. I'm just ready to get started on this writing today. I actually did get some sleep last night, so let's continue with this. Let's do this. Okay, so it is 6:57 and I have gotten up to 131,947 words. You will notice that that is not 2,000 words quite yet. And the reason I'm deciding to stop right now is because I just finished the scene and it doesn't really make sense to spend a bunch of time thinking of how to start this next scene when I'm just about to have a break anyway, after 50 words.
So I'm just gonna take a really quick break anyway. My first break is always quick, and then I will come back and continue writing and see what I can do. I'm about to start writing the second of the finale scenes already, so things are moving along, and it's definitely looking like I'm going to finish this character arc today.
Okay, so it is 9:02, and I have just reached 134,006 words. So my writing is going very well today. I have just finished the last scene of the finale. To be quite honest, 3 of them very much blended together. The high tower surprise kind of occurred at the end of the second one, and then after that it was all the escalation of the high tower surprise and kind of making it worse and worse and worse, and then dig deep down, and then finally I don't remember what the last one's called, but you know what I mean. So I just finished writing that scene, and now I only have one more scene left to write in this entire character's arc. What? So I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I am going to go swim today. I am also going to start a new book. I'm starting the Assassin's Apprentice, so we will see another fantasy story and see how I like that. And then I'll be back to finish this last little scene, so let's get to it. Okay, everybody, a miracle has just occurred. I swam the full 35 lanes, and I didn't get a cramp. I got close to feeling like there was going to be a cramp a couple times, but it was only like a slight tightness, not an actual lockup, so I count that as a win. Today I finished a decent amount. I'm going to work my way up by 3 actually. Every single week I'm going to move up by 3 on Tuesdays and 10% more than that on Saturdays. So that's how I'm going to work my way up to eventually doing 60 lanes, and that will allow me to be ready to do the Haruki Murakami challenge with running and swimming at the same time. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and hopefully this will help keep my legs feeling fresh and not getting too beat up. Anyway, I'm going to continue my break, and I'll be back to write in just a bit. Okay, so I've just gotten back from my break, and now I'm ready to get back into writing. I just started the Assassin's Apprentice. I think that I like this book all right so far. I don't know, I'm only in the first hour or so of it. I feel like the main character is a little bit weird, and I'm not a huge fan of first person, but otherwise I'm liking the writing style, and I think the world seems interesting. At least this sense that there's some sort of magical ability going on here is also interesting as well. So hopefully this will be another good series that I can enjoy as well, and I can just keep increasing the possibilities that I have for myself, basically. So anyway, I only have one more scene left to go. I am writing the closing image, of course, that is the correct name, and I'm so stubborn. And I'm going to see if this will take, 1,500 words or not. If it doesn't, then I might have to work on a little bit of backstory, but if it does, then I will be done with my writing for the day, as well as for the week, and as well as for this first draft of this novel. What? So that will be cool. Anyway, I am going to get into this writing, and I will talk to you in a little bit. Okay, so it is 12:55, and I have written 135,625 words. Okay, so today the writing went along relatively speedily, although I could definitely tell that it was slower than the last few days. And that is backed up by the fact that today I wrote just barely 4 digits with 1,000 words per hour. But even though it was a little bit slow today, the writing was still good, and I actually do think that some of the writing was better and more focused than I have been writing the last few days, because these scenes were so much more well-defined just by the nature of them being climactic scenes and having a very specific purpose. So because of that, I do think that these were a little tighter, and that might be why I ended up writing a little bit more slowly. I definitely enjoyed this day of writing, and I had a bunch of fun finishing up this story. I can't believe I finished up the 3rd character's arc already. I do have a little bit of backstory that I want to get into. I'm going to have to outline that and work on writing a little bit of the backstory scenes in the future. I have some ideas for what they're going to be like, and I think it will be really fun and useful to have for this character, especially because of his abnormal sorts of traits and behaviors. This will help definitely explain some of that and help the reader understand why he ended up the way he did. So that's it for the week. This is the last day of the writing. I'm going to take a second to think about what is the most important lesson that I learned from this week and share that and other things with you in just a bit. This was a tough week for sure. I struggled with sleep multiple days during the week, consecutive days. I had a really bad headache one of the days. And these obstacles and difficulties made this process a lot tougher than it was normally. However, I still managed through a combination of excitement and just general discipline and wanting to do the things that I say I'm going to do, to sit down and do my 5,500 words every single day, even when I wasn't feeling like it, even when I really just felt like laying down and doing nothing. I still did it, and I am proud that I was able to accomplish this despite the obstacles that I faced. It's also super exciting to have finished with the third character's arc. I do still have a little more backstory, as I've said, but all in all, I have basically finished figuring out these 3 characters. Only 4 weeks ago, I hadn't written a single word, and now I'm up to 135,000, and I've finished the first draft for these 3 characters. Next, let's talk about the most important lesson that I learned for this week, and that was the importance, at least for me, of outlining scenes really specifically. Knowing the beginning, middle, end, knowing the scene sequel structure really helps me. Even if I do decide to take the scene in a different direction, even if I don't necessarily use the details that I've plotted out here, it really focuses the scene a lot better than I was able to do with just a synopsis. So if you're feeling like your scenes are a little bit all over the place, maybe this would be a good thing for you to do as well. So next steps, I do have a few more days of Camp NaNoWriMo left, not that many because it's already the 27th. However, during those last few days, I think I'm going to be writing some of this backstory that I alluded to for Pramana, for this first character, and then I'm going to go straight into rereading each character arc one by one and rewriting them after that. So I'm going to move on right to the next step, because I really want to improve these stories for each of these characters, make the characters more congruent and believable, and now that I've gone through this first draft and figured out what I want the story to look like in general, I can go through and fix up a little of the details, make it a little more congruent, and improve the writing. And I think this will help me a ton. It might add a little bit in words as far as adding some more showing versus some telling, but I'm ready to continue and make this story even better. Okay, so now that we're getting to the end of July, if you're doing Camp NaNoWriMo, how are things going for you? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're not doing Camp NaNoWriMo, just let me know what sort of authorial things you're working on. And also, if you like this video, make sure to smash that like button so that YouTube knows to share with other writers like you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh crap, music is playing here. Okay, let me just pause. That's how tired I am right now. I'm going to keep this in there so that you can see how tired I am.
What's going on? It is day 5, I think. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It is day 5. What's going on? Today is day... I was wrong.